Ever wondered why the Egyptian economy seems to be in constant turmoil? To understand this, we need to delve into the annals of history and examine the key events that have shaped the economic landscape of the country. In the mid-20th century, under the leadership of President Gamal Abdel Nasser, Egypt embarked on an ambitious journey of nationalization. Industries, banks, and businesses were nationalized, and a socialist economic system was established. The state became the principal actor in the economy, controlling everything from production to pricing. But this move was not without its drawbacks. The lack of competition stifled innovation and efficiency, leading to a sluggish economy. In the late 70s, President Anwar Sadat initiated the Infitah, or open door policy, ushering in an era of economic liberalization. This was further continued by his successor, Hosni Mubarak. Private enterprises were encouraged, foreign investments were sought, and the economy was opened up to global markets. But the benefits of these policies were unevenly distributed, leading to a widening wealth gap and social discontent. Then came the Arab Spring in 2011, a wave of protests and uprisings that swept across the Middle East. Egypt was not spared. Mubarak was ousted, and the country plunged into political instability. This turmoil took a heavy toll on the economy. Foreign investments dried up, tourism revenues plummeted, and the Egyptian pound took a nosedive. The subsequent years saw a revolving door of governments, each with their own set of economic policies. This policy inconsistency further eroded investor confidence. The economy became stuck in a vicious cycle of low growth, high unemployment, and surging inflation. Thus, the roots of Egypt's economic turmoil can be traced back to decades of political instability and policy missteps. It's a tale of grand ambitions, missed opportunities, and harsh realities. But as we'll see, the story doesn't end here. The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict and its potential impact on the Egyptian economy adds another layer of complexity to this narrative. But that's a topic for another scene. Now that we've understood the historical context, what does the Egyptian economy look like today? Taking a look at the current economic indicators, the picture is a mixed bag. Unemployment is stubbornly high, particularly among the youth, a demographic that makes up a significant portion of the population. Inflation, although somewhat tamed compared to the past, remains a persistent issue. The GDP, or gross domestic product, has been growing at a relatively slow pace, not quite fast enough to lift the living standards of the average Egyptian. Now, let's delve deeper into the systemic issues. A significant concern is the high level of public debt. The government has been borrowing heavily, both domestically and internationally, to finance its budget deficit. This has led to an unsustainable debt-to-GDP ratio and has put a strain on the country's finances. Another issue is the low level of foreign exchange reserves. This has made the Egyptian pound vulnerable to fluctuations in the international currency markets and has led to periods of severe currency devaluation. The economy also remains heavily reliant on tourism and remittances from Egyptians working abroad. These are unpredictable sources of income that can be severely affected by external factors. For example, the tourism sector, a major source of employment and foreign exchange, has been hit hard by the impact of COVID-19. Similarly, remittances have been affected by the economic downturn in countries where many Egyptians work. Speaking of COVID-19, the pandemic has dealt a major blow to the Egyptian economy. It has disrupted supply chains, reduced consumer spending, and led to a sharp fall in foreign direct investment. Moreover, the government's efforts to contain the virus have resulted in additional public spending, further straining the already stretched public finances. As we can see, the Egyptian economy is grappling with a host of challenges, both old and new. From high public debt to low foreign exchange reserves, from the reliance on tourism and remittances to the impact of COVID-19, the road to economic recovery is fraught with hurdles. But as we move on to discuss the impact of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, we'll see that these challenges are only part of the story. So, how could the recent conflict in Gaza affect an already struggling Egyptian economy? Well, the potential impacts are manifold. Firstly, let's consider trade. Egypt shares a significant border with Gaza, and the escalating tensions could disrupt the normal flow of goods and services. This disruption could potentially lead to increased prices and inflation, thereby exacerbating the economic struggles of ordinary Egyptians. Secondly, an increase in conflict usually results in a rise in security costs. Egypt might be forced to allocate a larger portion of its budget to security and defense, diverting funds from vital sectors like education, health, and infrastructure. This resource reallocation could stifle economic growth and development in the long run. Thirdly, the conflict could fuel further political instability. As Egypt grapples with its own internal challenges, the added strain of a volatile geopolitical environment could put its government under immense pressure. Political instability often leads to economic instability, so this is another aspect to watch closely. Furthermore, the conflict could affect Egypt's standing in the region and its relationships with key allies and donors. Egypt has long been seen as a stabilizing force in the Middle East, and any change in this perception could have significant economic implications. So the conflict in Gaza not only poses a humanitarian crisis but also threatens to further destabilize the Egyptian economy. To summarize, the state of the Egyptian economy is the result of a complex interplay of historical, political, and external factors. Our journey began with a look at the historical perspective, highlighting how past political decisions and economic policies have shaped the current economic landscape. A significant part of this story is the legacy of economic mismanagement, corruption, and the lack of significant reforms. The narrative then moved to the current state of the Egyptian economy. We've seen how high unemployment rates, inflation, and public debt have created significant challenges. Yet amidst these struggles, Egypt has also shown resilience, with sectors like tourism and agriculture providing glimmers of hope. The impact of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict on Egypt's economy cannot be overstated. As we discussed, the ongoing tension and instability in the region have the potential to exacerbate Egypt's economic woes, creating further uncertainties and challenges. Looking ahead, the future of the Egyptian economy hinges on several factors. Key among these is the implementation of economic reforms to address structural issues, the achievement of political stability, and fostering regional cooperation. These steps are critical to attracting foreign investment and driving economic growth. While the road ahead is undoubtedly challenging, there is hope that with the right policies and international support, Egypt can overcome its economic woes and chart a path towards sustainable growth and development.